Hello, it's Nikki. Welcome back. I'm getting uncomfortable already. Today's chat is about money. And I always want to talk about it, obviously, from a non-accountant, non-financial advisor, but from a mind, like, I'm so uncomfortable. I'm not an accountant, I'm not a financial advisor, but I am somebody that, like you, has a relationship with money. And I think for us in this freelance space, in this self-employed space, a body language expert is like, she seems a bit wriggly. Yes, I am. In this conversation, as you know, as generating our own income, it's quite a different perspective, I find. So people talk about the freedom and the flexibility and working your own hours, or corporate friends might be like, are you actually working today? And I actually have a belief that many of us work way more than our corporate friends. What we're required to do, the flexibility of our roles is quite something. But I was reflecting on this conversation around time for money and pricing and packaging. So this is a lot of work that I do with my clients, because it's quite an equation to figure out. And yes, there are things about pricing and packaging your services so they work well within your industry. But also, the more that we go into this space and the more that we have access to all of these people on the internet, you can pay anything you like for a particular item. So a white t-shirt, for example, I'm sure you could buy a white t-shirt for $2.99. But equally, you could spend, I don't know, can you buy 20 grand t-shirts? Maybe. You can spend a lot of money on a white t-shirt. And some would argue it's just a white t-shirt, but we know that there are so many nuances in here. And many people are coming to me also because they're listening to industry advice of just sell this kind of package, but there's resistance for them. It doesn't quite sit well in their body. And so a lot of the work that I do with clients is about everything feeling good. If you can't say it aloud, if you can't talk about it comfortably, you're not going to be able to sell it. And so one lovely, slightly embarrassing for my clients thing that I encourage them to do is to read their website aloud. Because we can write these beautiful paragraphs and slot a picture in here and put a video in here, but you've got to bring that to life. So today I want to tell you the story of how I did an advert, and it was a 2-day shoot. And I'm not going to give you all of the details, but I worked out that what I was paid for this advert in these 2 days, because what happened was they paid me for 1 year and then they bought me out for another year. So what I was paid for those 2 days work, as in me being actively there doing my job, was actually more than a year's salary that I had earned earlier in my career. And that blew my mind a little bit. I mean, obviously, my experience had changed a lot over that time, but that kind of balance was like, what? You earned the same amount working all those days in just 2 days. So let me talk you through a process here, because this may shift the way that you approach your pricing and packaging. Number one, this industry, this landscape, this climate that we are in right now, we have to remind ourselves regularly, because the news is depressing at times, like there's so much going on in the world, it can feel all-consuming. Number one, it is possible for you to make money in a way that suits you. There isn't a one-size-fits-all. You don't have to, your only route to where you're going is not just from getting a 9-to-5 job. And I think we have to really remind ourselves of that on a day-to-day basis. And I do believe in that thing of, if you've got an audience, if you've got an internet connection, you can make amazing, incredible things happen. And yeah, that's quite juicy, I think. Number 2, to get to that place where I could go in and confidently land that and be a match for that sort of income in that sort of time frame at that sort of level, I had to go through the process of failing many, many times. And I don't mean failing, I mean like just going for so many castings, sending so many emails, writing so many pitches that I didn't get. But what I was doing was I was building the rhythm. I was building the muscle of doing that thing. And so by the time the thing that came along where I was a match, I was like, good. And actually I was recalled and penciled for something else as well. So even though I didn't get that, I almost could have had 2 jobs of the same sort of caliber. So yeah, I haven't really thought about that until now, because I'm always of the thing of like, once the job's gone, it's gone, on to the next one. But it really reminded me that you only get to do the things by doing the things, and sometimes failing, sometimes experimenting. And it's that repetition that is really important. So if you're in a spot where things are not happening quick enough, or you feel a bit stale or whatever, you have to move first. You have to go first. You have to create the momentum. You can't wait for it to come in the other direction. Number 3, you can be you and have a lovely time and work in your zone of genius and be playful and love it, and it not feel like hard work. This was literally like, these 2 days were some of the most casual, easy, like you're so looked after on a set, you know, a lovely car to come and pick you up, somebody to do your hair and makeup, catering all day. There was nothing hard about that at all. And it's always a really good reminder that actually spending time on working out what you're really good at and working within that sphere is such a great use of your time. I think we can overcomplicate it and try and be all things to all people. And actually, if you just lean into what is the best version of me, how can I cultivate that? How can I become that? I think the money, providing you have something to sell, will follow from there. Number 4, you have to go first and say you are available and say you are ready for that level. So sometimes in order to get to the next level, you have to close things down. And with me, that was saying no to non-paid work. I don't do that anymore. Those things like walk-on roles, extra work, I don't do that. I'm unavailable for that, because what I would rather do is spend more time and energy actually focusing on the thing that I want to do. And sometimes that there is a bit of a time lag. Sometimes you're like, oh no, I wish I could just be doing all the other things because that felt comfy and cozy and more regular. But you have to step yourself up and take on a new identity. This next identity, who is somebody who's like, right, I'm doing this and this is the direction I'm going in. Also, during this time when I landed this job, I had invested thousands into a program and in my own mindset and my own development. So this didn't just like come out of the blue accidentally, or somebody said, yeah, you sound like you might be about ready. We can't do that in this culture because everybody wants all the things. Everybody's competitive. So how are you going to have your edge? And number 5, the time frame is irrelevant sometimes. And it's sometimes just about having the thing that the person wants. So this production company wanted to shoot all of the things that they needed in these 2 days. And for them, it didn't matter how much it cost. Like, it cost what it cost to get everybody there in those 2 days. So when you're thinking about your pricing and your packaging, people are paying for the result. They don't, and actually all of these people, they weren't like, oh gosh, can we have you for another 12 hours? They wanted to get it done in the smallest amount of time. So I hope that has been useful. I'm going to leave some links down below if you want to check out some more details. Any questions, I would love to answer them. Let me know, and I'll see you next time. Bye.